Hi guys, Greg Denning. I'm going to share 5 ways that super successful people think. And it's so important. And you know, the first reaction might be, oh, come on. How can thinking really change something? But it does. You know, there are thinking habits and thinking patterns. And as I move through my own journey, you know, of being alone and homeless and broke, and I moved through that process and I began studying voraciously. It's been 20 years now. 20 years I've been studying success principles and studying the lives of really successful men and women. And I've discovered that they think differently. The way they think about a situation, the way they think in general, their habits, their thinking habits and thinking patterns are different. And that's the biggest determining factor, right? Because what we think about, we bring about. And that seems kind of abstract and like metaphysical, and you're like, come on. But really, you think about it, and then you desire it, so it creates an emotion, and then it creates an action, which creates a habit, which creates a character and a destiny. It really makes things happen. And so it's critical. It is absolutely critical that if you and I want to be uber successful people, we want to create lives of success, like extremely successful people have done throughout history, then the first thing we have to do is learn how to think like they think. So here's number 1. Successful people think in a successful identity, right? They identify themselves as a successful person. So in their mind, they say, I am successful. I'm succeeding. I can do this. Where someone who's going to fail, what do they usually think? They think, oh, it's not going to work out. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm no good. I'm not good enough. So you have to change that. The first thing you've got to do is acquire a successful identity. Say to yourself, I can do this. I can figure this out. And if you don't know how, what do you think? You think, oh, I don't know how, right? A loser mentality is, oh, I don't know what I need to do, so I can't do it. A winner mentality is, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to find out. You see the difference there? It's just simple thinking. So think success. You've got to overcome your self-doubt. You know, overcome any thoughts that tear you down. A lot of us get this conditioning, like, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too this, I'm too that. And we come up with all these excuses. But really successful people eliminate the excuses and they say, I will be successful. So acquire that thought habit right now. Start today and say it. Say it often. Say it to yourself in the morning and during the day, at night, before you go to bed. I am successful. And then make it happen. Acquire that identity. Number 2, successful people think about the result, not the method. And that's really the common denominator there. That successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do, right? Because they focus on the result. So let's pick, you know, great fitness and health. If you want to be really healthy and fit, you know, you're going to have to forego some of the sugars and the junk and the garbage food. You can't just keep putting that in. You're going to have to discipline yourself to, you know, the right proportion. You don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to go on some crazy fad diet. You just have to be disciplined and eat good, healthy food that tastes great in the right amounts. And you got to get out and you got to sweat, right? And you got to push your limits and you got to have sore muscles. Like I have sore muscles this morning because I had a killer workout yesterday. It was awesome. And I felt it this morning, right? But I'm not interested in the methods. I'm not interested in, oh, I want an easy, comfortable workout. I want to be able to eat, you know, tons of ice cream and junk food all the time. No way, right? It's the result. What do you really want? I want to be very healthy and very fit. Okay, well, what method? What's the method required? Ask yourself that. What is the result I want? What is the required method? What's the price I have to pay? And be willing to pay that. So successful people think that. They think, I want this result, I'll do what it takes. Okay, I have to study for 10,000 hours. Great, I better get on it. I'm going to get up early, I'm going to stay up late, I'm going to listen to audiobooks while I'm driving instead of just always listening to music. I'm going to turn off the TV. In fact, I'm getting rid of my TV because I want a phenomenal education. You know, some good friends of mine, their business just exploded online. And their reach now on Facebook, their monthly reach is 100 million. It's incredible. But you know what price they paid? They posted videos constantly. They posted great content every 15 minutes. And they did it for years, right? And that's the price. And you've got to be willing to do that. So focus on the result you want, not on the method. Unsuccessful people will think about the method. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't feel like doing that. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, that's too hard. Oh, that takes too much time. Oh, I'm going to have to work for free for a long time. And so they won't do it because they're so focused on the method, they don't do it. And so they don't get the result. So, number 2, focus on the result. Think with the end in mind, the end result you want, and do whatever the method requires. All right, number 3 is a favorite of mine. Successful people think first things first. They put their priorities in place. Now, a lot of people talk about balance. You know, want to have balance in your life. And they think that everything needs equal time and attention. That's just not true. Real balance is giving each thing appropriate attention and time. You know, what it needs. You know, to your health, to your marriage, to your children, to your work, to your spirituality, to your emotional health, to your own education. Each of those things need appropriate time. Successful people think first things first. They get up in the morning, they usually write a list at night of the things they need to do, and then they work off that list because they have their priorities, and they identify the things that need to be done first. There are excellent books out there. There's a book called First Things First. There's a book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog, where he says, you know, take the biggest, most important task and do that first. Where a lot of us are like, well, I'll just check my email. I'll kind of see if I have a Facebook message, or I'll do this little task here, and we avoid the big task that needs to be done. For the last 18 years, I've been following a strict morning routine where I work on first things first. I do the things that matter most. And if I don't get to some of the things lower on my list, so be it. Okay? If the laundry's behind, if the dishes might not be done, if some of these other things that can be outsourced or that other people can do or that aren't near as important as my purpose and my mission of spending time with my wife and my children, right, of working on something that really is meaningful and brings value, then it waits. Successful people think first things first. They identify their priorities and they do them. The 4th way that super successful people think is in putting the small things in place, right? It's these little things. It's unsuccessful people think, oh, that's not a big deal. It's not a big issue. You know, you're making a big deal out of it. But don't do that. Extremely successful people do the small things and they do them well. Like what? Like daily rituals. The things you do every day without fail. Whether you're traveling around the country with your family like I do, or around the world, whether you're on holiday, whether you're on vacation, whether you're working crazy hard, whether you're sick, whatever it is, it's these little things that always get done, right? It's the daily rituals. It's choosing to listen to an audiobook instead of merely listening to music all the time. It's turning your automobile into an educational university, right? It's even the small thing of listening to a book while you're exercising instead of just music. It's even as small as what kind of music. Is it uplifting, inspiring, or is it create, tensity or discouragement, okay? It's the little things like saying, I love you, expressing love in marriage, and doing it often throughout the day, sincerely. It's the little things like expressing compliments to coworkers and colleagues. It's the small thing of smiling. Watch my other video about smile power. Just the simple thing of smiling to yourself and smiling to others can literally change your life. It's the little things of what do you get irritated about? What do you allow to bother you? Because small people are bothered by small things, right? But great people do not allow themselves to be bothered by small things, right? It's just that simple shift of seeing the small things that need to be done. And doing them in a great way. Get up and study in the scriptures and pray and read from great books and act in a great way. It's the refinements, right? I love this. Watch for the other video on refinement. Becoming a refined person. It's taking, your nasty habits or your weaknesses. Maybe you're quick to be aggressive. Maybe you have kind of the boss mentality. It's just simple shifts of, you know what, I'm not going to put any substance in my body that could be harmful. I'm not going to watch or listen to anything that could be degrading, even if it's just that one part. No, I don't want that influence in my life. It's surrounding yourself with good things that are peaceful and encouraging. So critical. This step is critical. Make sure you're doing the small things in a great way. The fifth and final way for this video, there's a lot more, we can go on and on, right? And do that. Study the lives of great men and women. Examine your thinking habits. Read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Read it over and over and over. Change your thinking, right? Or Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. That's another great book. Thinking for a Change by John Maxwell. Excellent book about the real habits of thinking. Think about it. Think about it. And read about it. Study it. Learn how to think. All right. Number 5 is that really successful people have a fail-forward mentality, right? They view failure as fertilizer, right? That makes their lives better. They're willing to try and fail, knowing that that is the real path to success. If you want to, as someone once said, if you want to increase your rate of success, you have to increase your rate of failure. You have to try. You have to get out and stumble and learn new things. And you know that awkward, uncomfortable feeling when you're learning a new skill, a new habit, obtaining new knowledge. Study. Mortimer Adler said we ought to be studying constantly things that are just over our heads. They're pushing us. They're a little too hard for us. Get out and fail forward. View failure as a way to success, as the way to success. Too many of us, the loser mentality views failure as, at all costs avoid failure. And that is the sure way to failure, right? To avoid failure is the sure way to failure. You with me? As a whole. But the way to success is to not be afraid of failing. Instead, and view my video on fears, or overcoming your fears, because this is a big one. So many people are afraid to fail. But really successful people, super successful people, view failure as the pathway to success. So fail forward, try new things. When you fall down, get back up. In my life, I have fallen on my face all kinds of times. I live by a ready, fire, aim mentality. I go for it. And I aim afterwards. I make adjustments. And sometimes I fall on my face and I say, great, I won't do that again. I won't do it that way. But now I know. Now I've learned. I've left the porch and I can play with the big dogs. You with me? So set that in your mind. View failure as you're trying, as you're learning, and you're learning from your failures with the right attitude. View failure as the stepping stones to get up the mountain of success. So those are the 5 steps. Train your mind. Watch for a coming video about train your brain. Okay, train your brain. You have to practice it. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But start today to think like an uber successful person. Change your thinking habits and your thinking patterns, and remember that what you think about, you bring about. Reach upward.